welcome you to Tropicana Field at opening day 2015. Today, the Rays will play host to the Baltimore Orioles to begin a brand new season. It will be a full house at the Trop. Hi again, everyone. With Brian Anderson, I'm Dwayne Stats. So great to have you along as we begin this season. Well, Brian, there's always something special about the pageantry and the renewal of opening day as the Rays begin their journey on what appears to be a wide open American League East.
And there's no day like it. And you know what? There's been an awful lot of talk about the transition that this franchise has gone through. But guess what? That's all it's been is talk. I think everybody is tired of the talk. They want action. And guess what? That's about what we're going to get.
Well, this Baltimore Orioles ball club coming off their championship season in the division last year. They are a tough opponent without question. They have some new looks, and the Rays, a lot of new faces, and the big one, a brand new skipper, the youngest in the major leagues, Kevin Cash.
Well, and Kevin Cash, you just wonder right now what is going through his mind. I mean, this is his first manager job at any level, and first regular season game. You better believe that right now the butterflies are whipping through that stomach, and he cannot wait for that first pitch.
Both teams have been introduced, and we will take a look at the starting lineups. The Baltimore Orioles starting lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Buck Showalter's team will have Alejandro Diaz leading off. He'll be in left field. Manny Machado, the outstanding young third baseman, healthy, and he'll hit second. Adam Jones will bat third. In center field, a perennial Gold Glove and all-star performer. Steve Pearce is at first base today. In right field, Travis Snyder. The former Ray, Delman Young, is in the lineup as the DH for Baltimore. Ryan Flaherty is the shortstop, hitting seventh. Jonathan Scope, the second baseman, hits eighth, and the catcher, Caleb Joseph, will bat ninth. Umpiring crew out. Dana Demuth, 31-year veteran of Major League umpiring, will work the plate. And Buck Showalter, the manager of the Orioles. Kevin Cash, the new skipper of the Rays, as they go over the ground rules here at the Trop. And Chris Archer prepares to make his first ever opening day start. Archer coming off a 10-9 record a year ago. 32 starts. He was a legitimate contender for that opening day nod. It first went to Alex Cobb, as you know, and Alex now on the disabled list, giving Chris Archer an opportunity to make this opening day start. There is Alex Cobb. He figures to be back now in early May. I don't know that I've ever seen a pitching staff, a team overall, begin a season with 4 starters and their closer on the disabled list. But that's what the Rays face here to begin this brand new season.
Well, let's take a quick look at the Rays defense as it lines up behind Chris Archer this afternoon. In the outfield left to right, we have Desmond Jennings, Kevin Kiermaier, and Steven Souza Jr. Across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Asdrubal Cabrera, Logan Forsythe, and James Loney. Rene Rivera will be behind the plate.
Well, there's one of the new faces at shortstop. There was a competition in the spring as to whether Cabrera would play second base or shortstop. He's still only 29 years old, and he won the shortstop job. And another new face, Rene Rivera, coming over from the San Diego Padres, 31-year-old catcher. And the Rays are happy to have him. Steven Souza Jr. in right field.
wanting to make sure that he is placed properly. A little cheat sheet right there on defensive alignments.
Well, they've always been an important part of this game, but now more than ever. And what the Rays have done with the addition of Souza is add some speed and an arm. That's the defensive upgrade there. Of course, the Rays will have Kiermaier in center field most of the time this year, and Desmond Jennings scooting over to left. So they have 3 outfielders there who can go get the ball. That's something the pitching staff will appreciate. The philosophy here, as you know, has been good pitching supported with good defense. You stay in a game day in and day out and scratch out enough runs to win. And the Rays think they have improved the offense as well. All of that to be seen over the next 162 games. Chris Archer set to go to work. Alejandro Diaz, the left fielder for the Orioles, steps in, and here's the first pitch of 2015 for the Rays. Archer starts it with a strike. You might want to keep that baseball around. That first pitch presented by Pinch-A-Penny. He's got a very important strike in that pitch right there. Archer bare hands it and throws it away, backed up alertly by Forsythe.
A tremendous job by Logan Forsythe to really save extra bases right there. That looked to be ball off the end of the bat of Diaz. Chris Archer waits, bare hands, and then rushes the throw just a little bit. It sails high, but look at Logan Forsythe from the get-go. Looked to be a routine play, and he's backing up where he should have been, and ends up saving the day for the Rays, keeping Diaz at least off second, maybe makes it all the way to third.
Yeah, good and bad in that. You don't want to start a game like that. Maybe you get that out of the way in terms of the jitter department. But that backup play, you're right, Forsythe exactly where he needed to be. Now here's Machado.
And going back to that play, it looked like Chris Archer let that ball take one more bounce to not rush. But then the bare hand and the throw was rushed, and that's what caused it to sail.
Two and oh. Let's take another look at that. You can see he was uneasy right there.
Yeah, that's where he let it bounce one more time, 2 more times, and then he's going to quick pick it up and throw all in one motion, and it just sped up on him a little bit, and the ball sailed.
So error charge to Archer. Giving the Orioles a base runner, and now Archer working out of the stretch here is behind 3-0 in the count to Machado. Strike. That's one of the reasons that you don't mind working from the stretch in the bullpen when you're warming up.
That's absolutely right. You've got to go through every different scenario that you may see during the course of a game.
And now the walk to Machado. An error and a walk. A little bit of a spot here in the very first inning for Archer.
Chris Archer, the play to start the game sometimes can start to speed up your mind because you were the one that was held accountable for that error. And so you start thinking about that play and how could I have done that, and then all of a sudden, boom, the next hitter, a few pitches, and you lose him.
Well, Adam Jones, the key man in this lineup. 29 home runs last year, 96 runs batted in. Strike one on the foul ball.
And he is aggressive. He is not going to wait around. That's why Chris Archer right there goes to that very good slider of his. Adam Jones, extremely difficult to watch. We talked in 2013, 25 walks. Last year, just 19 walks in 644 at bats.
Center field, Kiermaier cutting back to his left. He'll make the catch. Runners tag. There will be an advance to third. Diaz is safely in there. Machado hangs on at first. one away. That's one thing about this outfield. Anything in the air, these three guys have a good chance to catch it.
Well, we saw at the beginning of the ballgame, Steven Souza Jr. with the little cheat sheet, where he's going to be deployed defensively. You get him in the right spot, he can cover some ground. We know Kiermaier can run. Desmond Jennings, you're right. You're going to have to work to get a ball to fall in the outfield because these guys can fly.
Steve Pearce, who had a breakout season last year after being cut by the Orioles early. There was an injury to Chris Davis, and they brought him right back, and he had a great year. Some will argue, and I think it's pretty apparent, that without him and those numbers, they would not have won the division last year.
Well, you think about who was not in the lineup last year. Matt Wieters limited to 24 games. Manny Machado, 82 games. Chris Davis was not himself.
0-2.
Yeah, that's where, you look at some of the difficulties the Rays are having injury-wise coming into this season. You need somebody to seize an opportunity and step up, and that's what Steve Pearce did for the Orioles last year.
He's an easy guy to root for if you're not playing against him.
Right.
Another foul ball back of Bobby Dickerson, the third base coach.
Well, the one thing that Chris Archer has been able to do, he rebounds, gets the fly ball out from Adam Jones, and now has put himself in a position to go for the strikeout here against Pearce. Runner at third, less than 2. Once you get to that 2 strike count, especially 0-2, you can expand that zone, and this is where you want to wipe out Pearce.
Archer working with a brand new catcher back there in Rene Rivera. But Rivera, from his very first day in camp in spring training, made a point to spend a lot of time with each and every one of these Rays pitchers to get to know them, not only the pitches they throw, but a little about each one of them so he can read their personalities.
Pitching game plans, they're not all one size fits all. And so you're absolutely right. You need to get to know the nuances.
Ooh, he just missed with the fastball right there. Pretty close, and the count is 1-2.
It had the plate just a little bit down, but you can afford to do that. 0-2. Now is where you want to make a pitch and still expand that zone a little bit.
2-2.
And that was a good take there by Steve Pearce, and that's something that he's done a lot better. He's always been a good fastball hitter, but he's been a lot better and has made a lot of improvement in recognizing breaking balls.
Yeah, and he will tell you the more you get a chance to be in that batter's box on a regular basis, the better opportunity you have to improve in that department. Oh, there's a great pitch. Strike 3 called at 96 on the fastball.
Well, once you get to 2-2, it's no longer about expanding the zone. It's about making a pitch, and that's what Chris Archer did. 96. Watch this. Can't put it in a better spot.
So a very good pitch. 96 on the corner. 2 gone. 1 man to get. It's Travis Snider. Coming over after spending last year in the National League with Pittsburgh. And a ground ball that's going to go through the left side. That shortstop spot was open. And that little ground ball will drive in a run.
And you go back and you look at the replay, and Travis Snider did a great job of staying inside the baseball. That was the whole key to that at-bat, and that successful at-bat for Snider. He stays inside, doesn't try to do too much. And look at that. Just put the ball on the ground to the left side, knowing that it's wide open. And the Orioles jump out in front.
So the error cost the Rays a run here. It's unearned, but a run nevertheless. Now Delman Young. Out of play for a strike. You've got to give Snider credit. The Rays had him shaded toward the middle, open the left side. And the one thing he did last year in Pittsburgh that the Orioles really liked, he made a lot more contact than he'd made earlier in his career. He was a big prospect with the Toronto Blue Jays. He cut down his strikeouts last year, and he made contact right there in a big spot for Baltimore. 2 strikes on Delmon Young.
Well, if you want to stick around this game and play it for a good number of years, you've got to be able to make adjustments. And that's what he did. And especially early in the count, you're expecting him to try to drive something. Instead, he said, hey, listen, you want to open that up for me? I'll take that base hit and run batted in.
Got the miss. Fastball got him. 97 on that one. Baltimore with 1 unearned run. They lead 2. The Rays are coming in to hit. The view from the porch area in center field that has quickly become one of the favorite spots. And for your Southern Ford dealers, Kevin Cash has put together this lineup. John Jaso returns to the Rays. He'll be the DH. Steven Souza Jr. hits second in front of Asdrubal Cabrera. Longoria, Loney, and Jennings down the middle. Rene Rivera, the catcher, hits seventh. Logan Forsythe, eighth. Kevin Kiermaier, ninth in center field.
Taking the mound this afternoon for the Baltimore Orioles will be right-hander Chris Tillman. This will be his second opening day assignment. The numbers from last year: 34 starts, 1 complete game, 13-6. Got over that 200 inning mark, and he is ready to go.
Jaso takes the first pitch upstairs. Not a speedster by any means, but the wisdom here is that you'll take that on-base percentage over speed at the top of your lineup. You'd love to have a guy who could get on and steal, but you've got to get on first, and that's something that throughout Jaso's career he's shown he can do. He's up in the count, 3-0.
When you start to look around, and this is exactly what you're talking about, working the count, taking pitches. But you look at this Rays lineup, and there's no, leadoff here that jumps out at you. There's a couple of guys you think maybe down the road, you think of a Kevin Kiermaier, but right now you kind of want to protect him. You want Desmond Jennings to drive runs in.
And Jaso draws the walk. And right there is what the Rays hope to get a lot of from Jaso.
Let's take a look at the Baltimore defense real quick. In the outfield left to right, we have Alejandro De Aza, Adam Jones, and Travis Snyder. Across the infield third to first, we have Manny Machado, Ryan Flaherty, Jonathan Scope, and Steve Pearce. Caleb Joseph will be behind the plate.
The The Orioles happy to have Machado healthy. He's had both knees worked on. He's only 22 years old. Steven Souza Jr. looks at a strike.
He was limited to just 82 games last year. But mature beyond his years in baseball.
A big part of the Orioles club, especially with a couple of losses over the winter. And they lost a lot of their pop home run power from their lineup. 1-1 the count on Souza Jr. The Rays looking for better offense. They were last in the American League in runs scored a year ago. And they're hoping that Souza will go a long way toward making this offense more productive. 2-1 the count. There's Asdrubal Cabrera on deck. Jaso back in at first. It was a big year, AAA last year, had limited time with Washington. He has great power, but really does not consider himself a power man, a power hitter. He tries to be a good hitter first. Now it goes to 2-2. Take pitches as he's worked this at bat to what will be the 5th pitch by Tillman to Souza coming. And strike 3 call. Well placed fastball.
Well, very similar to what Chris Archer was able to do to Steve Pearce. Chris Tillman is able to get Souza on the fastball down and away. Well located, not a lot of movement, stays true, but right to a good spot.
One on, one out. Whereas Asdrubal Cabrera, spending last year between Cleveland and Washington, combined 14 home runs. He's going to bunt, and that's a foul ball. That left side open.
They were swung around on Asdrubal, and Manny Machado, as you can see, he's right here playing over there in the hole. And so Asdrubal Cabrera with 1 out, a runner aboard, said, hey, why not take a shot? Good idea.
What the Rays really hope to have is a more consistent lineup. There may not be a batting champion season up and down this lineup. It's been in the dirt. Now Jason's going to try to advance, and he is out at second base on the recovery by Joseph. Jaso cut down at second base.
Well, aggressive base running here by Jaso. Ball in the dirt, doesn't get that far away from Caleb Joseph, and that's where John Jaso is anticipating the ball in the dirt and heading towards second base. Not a bad idea, but it didn't get far enough away from Joseph. And then how about the block there at second base?
Sealed off second base.
We're not getting in there.
Cabrera bunts it again, and it's foul. So the Rays lose their base runner. 2 gone, and Cabrera down 1 and 2. Will wind up out of play.
Interesting how a middle infielder can block second like that, and yet a catcher cannot do that.
I guess they think more of catchers than they do middle infielders.
I mean, how about that? Leg right out in front. Where are you going to go? It was well played.
2-2 on Cabrera.
Although it's not often you're going to see a guy run through a middle infielder and try to put him out into left field, unless it's Albert Bell.
Cabrera battling Tillman here.
How quickly you think that leg gets out of there if Jaso decides to go
feet first?
Right.
And you're concerned about Jaso going head first there, given his concussion history.
How many times have you seen that? Guys going in head first and catching a knee. And you're right.
Yeah, you're always concerned. He had a couple of those and missed significant time and had a difficult time coming back from that. Full count pitch lifted into short right. Scope out from second, but this is Snyder coming in from right. The Rays do not score. We go to the second. 1-0 Baltimore. Sun Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Baltimore scored an unearned run in the top of the first. In the second inning, they'll have Ryan Flaherty. Flaherty in here at shortstop. He is 4 of 9 in his career against Archer. And that matchup has earned him a start at shortstop.
And that's what Buck Showalter's going to have to do early in the year when you think about J.J. Hardy and Matt Wieters on the disabled list. You referenced it earlier. Nelson Cruz no longer here. Nick Markakis. So you've got to play that matchup game early on.
Saloni to make the play unassisted. One gone. Well, the Orioles lost 40 home runs when they saw Nelson Cruz and Nick Markakis depart. They had 211 home runs last year. To lead the major leagues, they had 25 more home runs than the Rockies and 34 more home runs than their nearest American League opponent, the Blue Jays. Now Scope drops one into right toward the line. Souza Jr. over there to pick it up. Take a look at that. 40 home runs from Cruz, 14 for Markakis. And they moved on. Markakis gone to the National League.
I I think what the Orioles are thinking is Manny Machado only played half a season. Chris Davis hit 196. He did have 26 home runs, but he had 53 the year before. So you hope bounce back there, healthier Machado, and have Wieters around for more than 24 games. And that's how you try to make up some of that offense.
Caleb Joseph, the catcher, takes a strike. This ball upstairs. Joseph gave the Orioles a big lift after they lost Wieters. They really groomed him as a backup catcher in their system. He came up and hit 9 home runs for them and did a very good job behind the plate. Sliders in for strike 2. That's a nice pitch to be able to throw 2-1.
And Chris Archer has the confidence in that pitch. Primarily, look at his breakout from last year to right-handed hitters. He was 65% fastballs, 35% sliders. Awfully good with it.
Full count. Top of the order, Diaz is on deck. Runner goes. Pitch skied to right. Souza finds it and makes the catch. Scope back to first.
He gets back into the count with a slider and then ends up ending the at-bat with the same pitch. Soft fly to right.
They talk about pitchers getting slider happy. Of course, he's got such a great fastball. No need to do that for him. But boy, how great is it to be able to throw a slider the way he did, 2-1 and then 3-2.
That's it. I mean, that shows you the level of confidence that he has in that pitch.
Top of the order, Diaz.
I think the one thing that you look for Chris Archer, the step that he's going to take this year, is finding ways to incorporate the changeup into his arsenal, because he's got a very good changeup. But for him, the fastball and slider have been so good, and he's so much more comfortable with them. It's been hard to find times to squeeze that changeup in. When he does that, he will take another step. There's no doubt about that. I can remember CC Sabathia was a guy when he was coming up, good fastball, good slider. When he started to incorporate the changeup, that's when he became elite. And Chris Archer can do the same.
How do you decide when you start to use that? If those other pitches are that good.
Yeah, well, that's where, between Jim Hickey, Rene Rivera, you've got to pick your spots and gain a comfort level with it, to where all of a sudden in a spot where, right now, hitters go up there, they're thinking, fastball, slider. Even he may throw a couple of changeups here or there. You discount that pitch because he doesn't throw it enough. When he starts to incorporate it, and now you've got to think about all three, or even if you try to cut some down, he'll come with a changeup in a big spot. Good luck.
Two. I think that's especially true because you get inside your division and you see these teams so often. He's had a little trouble with the Orioles too in his brief career, but you see them over and over, and you'd better be able to give them a different look on occasion just to keep them honest. And he takes care of Diaz. Well, the slider, a good pitch for him here in the second inning. Strikes out Diaz with it. matchup. Evan Longoria has matched up extremely well against Chris Tillman.
With damage. It's nice to have the .394 average, but 5 home runs out of the 13 hits and a couple of doubles. Sees the ball very well, and he hasn't missed too many.
So Longoria, 91 runs batted in last year to go with his 22 home runs.
Boy, you just get the feeling, too, that even with the 22 and 91, he's capable of so much more, and I think he believes that and knows that himself.
Well, his track record certainly indicates that. He fouled a curveball there, and the count is 1-1. I mean, if you look at what he's done as a third baseman in the major league since he got here in 08. Ball again, it's 1-2, and he's at the top of all the big categories when it comes to offense out of a third baseman. And out on strikes. One away here in the second inning. Let's check in with Todd Callis standing by with Matt Silverman.
Yeah, new role this year, Dwayne, for Matt, President of Baseball Operations. And you told us in the pregame show, a little bit different day for you in terms of getting ready, right?
Yeah, a little different, a little more activity, a little more anxiety. But now that the game's going, we get to watch these guys do their thing.
Yeah, less or more anxiety with the game going. You always follow the game closely, but now this is a direct handprint situation.
Yeah, and just making sure that Jaso's okay after that awkward slide in the first. Haven't heard anything, but hopefully he'll be back out there for his next at bat. Yeah, a little bit closer to the action. And not the best first inning, but a lot of baseball to be played, and eager to see our guys up to the plate this inning.
Yeah, first time through this lineup. When you look at the lineup this year, and we talked a little bit about that prior to the game, your thoughts about where this offense is. Last year, obviously, you were looking for more runs. A lot of it was runners in scoring position.
Right. And we get those guys in scoring position. We got to get them in this year. And I think we have fewer soft spots in our lineup. More guys can drive in runs. Desmond where he is.
Loney sends one to right, but he is out for the second out of the inning.
Desmond hitting where he is, gets a chance to drive in some more runs. Hopefully have a lot of guys on base. And I think we're more balanced 1 through 9.
On the pitching side, it's not the 5 starters that you thought coming into spring training. Where are Alex Colomé, Alex Cobb, and Drew Smiley in terms of their recovery? And it's kind of an unusual situation as you start the season.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you include Matt Moore, we're probably down 5 of our top 10 pitchers, starting pitchers, and that's a tough situation to be in. At the same time, we got a lot of depth, and we're going to test that depth. I would look for Drew and Colomé to be back sooner, and then hopefully Alex is only a couple of weeks behind. We're just working through the timetables, making sure those guys are doing what they need to do to get ready for the season.
Desmond Jennings has swung at the first 2 pitches in this at bat. When you look at this lineup, Desmond's in a different spot. Will this allow him, not to worry about taking pitches and think about on base and just kind of have a little more freedom in this spot? Yeah,
I think we've seen the power. We've seen the kind of bat that he has, and so now he gets freed up to use his power. And then when he gets on base, to use his speed. It's sort of flipping it around, but he can be a run producer in this lineup, and that's what we're looking for this year.
Matt Silverman joining us, President of Baseball Operations. So today, Chris Archer. Tomorrow, Nate Carnes, and we know Wednesday is going to be Jake Odorizzi. But at least for today, Matt Andriese adds another arm that you can go to in the bullpen. Right,
we're gonna get the most out of those 12 guys on our pitching staff, and so guys are going to be pitching in unorthodox situations. And if we need Andriese for an inning, we can have him, and then he can come back and be ready for the Marlins series. That's the way it's going to be as we piece this together for the first few weeks.
And then right out of the gates, you get a righty and then a lefty. So just a couple of tweaks to the lineup tomorrow. We may see a guy, or we may see a Tim Beckham.
Yeah, we may see some more of a set lineup against our left-handed starter. Get some guys in there. It's nice to have them both. Guys get to play the first couple of days, and then they go back to a righty right after that.
And it's really unusual in that not only do you have the 4 and 5 starter situation that you're figuring out, but you go to a National League city right out of the gates. I mean, it's a really difficult challenge.
Yeah, we said that during Kevin's interview. Are you ready to go to Miami in that second series of the year? he's going to be a well-seasoned manager once we get through this first week or so, because he's going to be juggling the pitching staff and also at the same time going through the National League Park and working through all the double switches and those potentials. We've been working on it a lot, and I think he's ready for the challenge. After
being down in the count 0-2, Desmond Jennings has worked the count full here with 2 outs, and fouls one just over our heads. You talked about the different look to the lineup with John Jaso leading off. Not your prototypical leadoff hitter in terms of speed, but even though it didn't work out for him, he can take a base with a ball in the dirt with the best of them. Yeah,
9 times out of 10, he's going to steal that base. He's going to get that base, and he reads the ball in the dirt so well. Unfortunate bounce for him, but he's an on-base guy, and he can run the base as well. Just didn't work out the first inning.
Desmond Jennings, after going 0-2, draws the walk here, and now you have Rene Rivera batting with 2 outs. Rene is a guy that at the time of the deal we didn't know what kind of impact he was going to have, but as we get closer and now into opening day, this guy is a very important piece to the puzzle.
Yeah, he's we're gonna get a lot out of Rene this year, and he's already worked really hard with our pitchers to get to know them so that we don't have any of those issues in the first couple series with him trying to call the game and calling it differently than they want. He's just been a great student of them, and offensively gives us a little bit more pop than we had last year. He's the kind of guy who's known for his defense, but as we saw in spring training, he can hit the ball over the wall, and he's going to be a key part of our season this year and the next couple of years.
Matt, thanks for the time.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Tom.
All right, guys, let's go back to you.
All right, Todd, thank you. Very insightful there as the Rays try to get something going in the bottom of the inning with 2 outs. Shot back to right. Snyder, though, will have room and range and makes the catch to retire the side. Rays lead a man. They go to the third, 1-0 Baltimore. Baltimore. Right now, let's check in with the newest member of our crew. Here's Emily Austin. How are you?
Thanks, Dwayne. I'm great. A lot of excitement here for opening day, my first opening day, so nothing but excited. Okay, so like you said, new skipper for the Rays, but he's not new to this game. He's been around it for quite a while, and he's been living in this area. He actually grew up here. Let's take a look at who Kevin Cash really is. He was a member of the Tampa Northside Little League that went to the World Series 1989. His playing days continued at Gaither High School with the Cowboys. And yes, he's a Seminole. Cash played 3 seasons at Florida State University and then 8 years in the Bigs. He picked up 2 rings along the way, the 2007 Red Sox and 2009 Yankees. And now he is back home. The Tampa Bay Rays announced Kevin Cash as the new manager on December 5th. So he's been a great addition to this team. And of course, I have to like him because he's a Gaither High School alum just like me.
It's a natural.
He's a natural.
Yeah. And 2 additions here the same year from Gaither. Same season. Kevin graduated much before Emily. I want to make that clear.
You better.
As if it's not clear already.
Listen, she'll be making her way right up here to the booth.
Nice pitch by Archer to get Machado that fastball in on him, and he got the ground ball to first. Now he faces Adam Jones. 1-0 the count. Orioles scored an unearned run in the first inning. First final in of the day. The Tigers have beaten the Twins in Detroit 4-0. There's Forsythe making a nice play. You know, Jones can get down that line a little bit. Ball not hit overly hard, and Forsythe a good job on that one.
Yeah, a chopper headed up the middle, not hit that hard. Forsythe has to range to his right. And you'll see a nice pick and throw, accurate. That bears watching. Logan Forsythe is going to get the bulk of the playing time at second base for the Rays with the injury to Nick Franklin. You're going to see him out there a lot. New up the middle defense.
Pierce takes a big cut at that one. Off speed.
Really
out in front.
Really new up the middle defense all around. Not so much Logan Forsythe, started 48 games last year for the Rays at second, but Cabrera, Rivera, Kiermaier in center.
Yeah, and I really think the defense is going to be improved this year. It starts with, I think, consistent range in the outfield. Rivera is going to be fine behind the plate, and the guys up the middle.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I think Asdrubal Cabrera, the Rays feel like, you know, he won that shortstop job. That was an open competition. He took control in spring training, never let up, and they feel that there's plenty more in the tank of that man right there. And Logan Forsythe, we've seen him make good plays, and Rene Rivera, we're going to be talking a lot about his defense too.
Forsythe right there. Added the shift. He handles Pierce. They're 2.5. 1-0 Baltimore. In this game today and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Rays will have Forsythe, Kiermaier, and Jaso due up here against the right-hander Chris Tillman. And we're pleased to be joined by the new president of the Tampa Bay Rays, Brian Albright. Nice to have you with us.
Thanks. Great to be here on opening day.
Opening day always special. Let's get this out of the way. It's the elephant in the booth. What's up with the ballpark situation?
Oh, well, we are doing everything we can to get it resolved, but obviously it's going a little slower than we'd like. What I can tell you is we remain 100% committed to the Tampa Bay region. We run this organization for the benefit of our fans, and this is where they are, and we really look forward to getting things solved in as quickly a time frame as possible.
Now, Listen, I played back here at Tropicana Field back in the day, and I remember what this place used to be like. So all that being said about the push for a new stadium, in the meantime, the changes that you make to this ballpark year in and year out to make it better, more fan-friendly, better all around. It's been an amazing thing, the transformation of this building and what you guys have done. What's new this year?
Well, I think the most obvious example is the scoreboard. And while it's the actual same physical monitor up there, we've redone the entire control room backing it up. And, pardon me there, it's my first time on television, can't tell. And as well as all the cabling and everything that goes to it. And so you're seeing a much crisper picture out there. It's allowing us to do a lot more with the visual effects. I think it's going to make the game a lot more exciting when you're here.
Forsythe out on that popped appearance at first, brings up Kevin Kiermaier.
I was a big fan of the porch. The porch last year I thought was awesome, especially after you saw what was done at the Port Charlotte facility and how awesome that walkway was. To be able to do that here, I thought was great.
Yeah, and you can see it right now. There's fans lined up all the way around it. It's a great place to meet someone, grab a beer, watch a couple innings. And that's the pace of the game of baseball. It makes for a really terrific experience.
What do you find in this new spot? It's not as if you weren't around here. You had an important role in this organization to begin with. Now moving in as president, what's the biggest actual change that you've experienced?
For me personally, it's doing things like this, getting out there, having my face be just a little bit more public, and representing a greater portion of our business communications. But beyond that, I've known Matt since I was in high school. I've known Stu for 10+ years now. I've had an incredible support staff for the last 10 years, and continuing to go forward. And so most of what we're doing with this organization is very, very similar to what we've been doing for the last 10 years, and I'm pretty pleased with the results so far.
We see David DeJesus here hitting in the place of John Jaso. So apparently Jaso was shaken up to some degree going into second base head first in the first inning. So we'll see how that works out.
So give us an inside look, just a peek at what was the whirlwind of this offseason for the Rays. I mean, with all the transition and turnover, guys in new roles, what was that like for you to go through?
Oh, it was crazy, personally and professionally. Andrew Friedman officiated my wedding, so to see him leave was a tough loss personally. Obviously, he's been a fantastic general manager for us, and we wish him the best with the Dodgers. And then a couple weeks after that, in my first week or two as team president, we see Joe Madden leave, and it was really important that we grab everybody together and make sure we understood like the sky was not falling. We had this thing under control, and that this organization is so strong top to bottom. And I think we've demonstrated that all offseason long. We're coming off a fantastic spring training. We had a great fan fest. We're here at another sold-out opening day. Weathering that storm, I think, has given everybody the confidence we need to get through the rest of the season as well.
DeJesus has gone to 3-2. Well, you mentioned this is one of the new things that you've had to do as a president. Consider a job well done here, dropping in on us.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks very much. Let's.
Now you can get a run or two while you're here.
I was going to say I needed to create a tradition of run scoring.
Yeah, one step at a time. Ryan, thanks for stopping by. It's been great to have you here, and we're looking forward to all of the great things that I'm sure you guys have in store.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's been great.
We are through 3, 1-0 Baltimore. him in the middle half of the fourth inning, if you'd like to stick around for that. T-Mobile game changer. Chris Archer right there among the best. American League most starts, allowing 1 earned run or fewer last year. Good company indeed. Off speed to Snyder. He gets ahead of him. Look at that. Good company anytime you're on the same list with Felix Hernandez. Chris Archer 16, Hernandez 16. Danny Duffy, the Kansas City Royals lefty, with 16. 0-2. A couple of changeups here.
That's how you build confidence. You come right out. A couple of A+ pitches right there. A good swing and a miss. And, you know, that last stat speaks to what he can do, how he can dominate a game. 16. That was half his starts. Half his starts he's going out there throwing up 1 or 0. And you wonder why the Rays are still, even with all of the injuries, even with all the turnover, are so optimistic about this season.
Oh, I think it has the potential to turn out to be not only a positive season, but one that could be very entertaining. I think it'll be exciting. You get those starters back one by one. Toward the line and left. Here comes Jennings, and it's going to fall for a base hit. Snyder's going to go for 2. Might get him, and he is out of there at second base. Forsythe put the tag on him.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, that ball fallen right here in front of Desmond. Travis Snyder then decides he's going to go for 2, but Desmond bare hands and gets that throw low. Good bounce. Forsythe able to handle it. You know, we've seen a lot of teams try to run a little bit on Desmond Jennings, but he does a nice job of that ball low to the ground. Just go ahead and play the skip, and they get the out.
Elman Young into shallow center, and Kiermaier's there for that one.
Guys still getting used to their new positions.
Yeah, Kiermaier took a beat or two to read that one. Well, that's where speed comes in handy as well, and we saw that last year a few times. You know, he was among the finalists for Gold Glove over in right field, but that hustle and speed and daring made up for a couple of situations like that last year.
That's going to be fun to watch all season long, as these guys getting on their horse and going after it, tracking it down.
Ron Flaherty looks at strike 1, a fastball.
And then I think the Rays would also like to turn around and use that speed offensively as another way to try and score runs. Chance for big years from Kiermaier and Jennings.
1-1, close pitch. Getting word that Jaso left with a left wrist issue, a contusion, and that X-rays are negative. Well, he came back with a fastball right there at 97. How about that, starting the inning with those 2 changeups and finishing it with a fastball at 97. That takes care of Baltimore here in the top half of the 4th inning. That's a pretty thing right there.
Well, you slow a guy down. The previous pitch was 86 in the changeup, and then pop him right there with 97, and that's what he's capable of doing.
So Archer has 4 innings under his belt, allowing that 1 unearned run in the 1st inning, and has settled in nicely, limiting the 1st inning damage. So it remains a 1-0 ball game here in the middle of the 4th inning. Here's that John Jaso situation, trying to advance on that ball to the dirt.
Now, this is exactly what Matt Silverman was talking about, that awkward slide, the blocking of second base by Flaherty, and that left wrist goes right into that shin, and you can see him coming up just a little bit, favoring it right there, and had to come out of the game. Good news is X-rays were negative.
So Steven Souza Jr. will open the bottom of the fourth. Cabrera to follow, and then Longoria. He's looking for their first hit. A couple of walks. Baltimore a run on 3 hits. We see Souza Jr. headed to the plate. And we're pleased to have Kevin Cash join us here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Kevin, we appreciate the intrusion here on your debut managing. Just give us an indication of your feelings here, first time.
Oh, everything is going good. Arch is throwing the ball really well. The only thing we're disappointed about is Johnny Jaso sliding into second base, jammed up his wrist. So, our doctors and medical staff, Porterfield, are looking at him. But, that's a little unfortunate. But good energy here, and we like where we're at right now.
And Archer's throwing the ball the way you'd like to see him. He's thrown the ball very well for you.
Yeah, he has. He's mixed pitches. He's thrown some good changeups early on. Let his fastball go. So really like where he's at. Good swing right there by Suze, letting it go.
Okay. Kevin, we appreciate you coming on with us here. We're going to let you go. It's a big day for you. Opening day, big day for all of us. Good luck.
All right, Dwayne, thanks.
Okay, Kevin. Souza looks at this one wide, 2-2.
Hey, we didn't get him until game action. I thought, in between innings, and I wanted to settle the bet that we're having about how many hours of sleep that he got last night. I was saying 5. You were going 6.
Yep.
Can't imagine it was that much.
No.
I mean, that's like that for any player, any manager, coach on opening day, let alone your first opening day as a manager at any level.
Absolutely, and that's really special that he would spend any time in the middle of the game. You feel, hey, there's a ball hit to deep short, and Souza, who can run, is aboard. Now they're going to get Souza caught in a rundown, and I'm not sure that he needed to be caught in this rundown. Souza caught and tagged out, but he headed up that right field line. He's a little slow in getting up, and you certainly don't need that. If you turn the wrong way there and make an advance, an attempted advance, that's one thing. And I'm not so certain that that was the case there until I think he was really persuaded by the right fielder Snyder to do that.
He may have, but watch this right here as he gets down. Now, is this considered making an advance? Right there. A couple of sharp steps towards second, and I think in his mind at that point he said, you know what, I committed, now I got to go. And Baltimore was able to close it out with the rundown, but it was late. It was very, very late. And it was not only a turn, but there was a step and a half towards second, enough to where he got convinced. You just hope he's all right now.
Yeah, and I think what happened, Snyder yelled into Joseph, who was a little late in the pickup of that overthrow. And when Souza heard Snyder, he had no intention of doing that until he heard Snyder, and then made a move, caught the rundown, and the Rays lose a base runner right there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on down there. You got Rocco Baldelli's probably yelling stuff. Travis Snyder's yelling in. Caleb Joseph sneaking up behind you.
Guerrero takes the pitch for a ball.
Well, here's the look right here. Ball gets by him now. The turn. Yeah, it looked like he had given himself up there and then said, uh-oh,
yeah,
I just got to go.
Tough spot to be in. 2-1 now to Cabrera.
What was interesting, too, is taking a look at Paul Nauert, who's, umping down there at first base. When the turn was made and everybody started yelling, he kind of put himself in a position like, I'm going to have to make a call here. And then all of a sudden, Sousa's like, you know what, you're going to make it in a minute because I'm taking off.
the corner. Takes the bat right out of Cabrera's hand. That good pitch on the inside corner, and he's out on strikes. And 2 outs. Base is empty now. Souza getting a hit out of that ground ball toward the hold at short, but cut down in the rundown.
These are the kind of counts that Evan Longoria longs to be in, of course, but especially off a guy, and I know that he went down swinging in his first at bat, but the success that he's had off of Tillman, consistent success, 5 career home runs.
Tillman made a great pitch right there.
You know, he has thrown Evan everything so far in these first 2 at bats. A few good curveballs in the first at bat. This at bat, he throws, you know, mixed in a changeup, a good slider right there to get to 2-2. And those are the adjustments that you try and make when a guy has had a lot of success off of you. You start to try and mix up your patterns, show him everything.
Yeah, he's throwing him the whole arsenal.
Yeah, you got to.
And he went up with him and strikes him out on a fastball. Good one in the mid-90s. On to the 5th. 1-0 Baltimore. Unearned run, the difference in the game to this point. We'll flip you over the limited edition Rays tumbler you get when you buy a Rays Flex Pack starting at just $59. Save up to 50% and pick any 3, 6, or 9 games with no blackout dates. Everything tastes better in an official Rays tumbler. Get yours at RaysBaseball.com or call 888-FAN-RAYS. Jonathan Scope takes the pitch out of the zone. 1 ball, no strikes. As we mentioned, Detroit beat Minnesota 4-0. And the Blue Jays have beaten the Yankees. That's a 6-1 final. Hot shot short. Throws him out.
I had him positioned perfectly. A little bit of a shift over there. Forsythe up the middle. That ball rocketed, but Cabrera shows you the soft hands. And that's what excites you about his defense there in the shortstop position. Just very soft hands. This ball does not do it justice on TV how hard it was hit. And it just looks as routine can be.
It's Caleb Joseph. Well, Archer's in the mid-50s in his pitch count. One out into the fifth. That's after a 19-pitch first inning.
Gotten that under control rather quickly. And that's going to be the key for him as he looks to cross that 200-inning threshold. That's one of his goals. Came close last year. That's how you get deep into games.
2-1. Been able to throw his slider behind in the count today. Another one. That one better than the first one to Joseph to even the count at 2-2.
We've seen some good early in the count changeups, some good behind in the count sliders. Makes it difficult for the opposition.
Full count.
You just don't want them to forget you've got 95 to 97 with late life too.
This one is headed toward right center. Cut off by Kiermaier. Joseph, however, will make it standing in at second with a double.
That was 4 straight sliders. 4 straight sliders, and finally Caleb Joseph has one in the zone that he can handle, and he stays on it, head down, lengthens the swing a little bit, and then out into right center. Nice job by Kiermaier there to cut it off.
And that might be a case of where you just overdid it. You know, here's Joseph. Now, he had a stretch last year of about a week where he's hitting a home run every day, but he's not up here because he's a hitter. You got 95. Why not?
At some point. You can understand, you know, behind in the count, you don't want to be predictable, so that slider gets you back into the count. But you went to the well maybe one too many times with 4 straight. And the last one, you're forced to keep in the zone. You know, the ones before that, the pitch before that, you tried to take out of the zone, get him to chase. He didn't. So now you give him one that stays in the zone. He gets a better look at it, has seen 4 in a row, and the stars start to align.
Yeah, and you let that number 9 hitter get on, and you know that the next hitter or two, you're going to start getting into some dangerous territory. And Manny Machado's on deck with Diaz in the batter's box right now. Challenged him there. You could see Diaz try to be quick on the fastball, and he just got a little piece of it to foul it.
Well, that's the type of hitter that he is. You know, line drive, gap to gap type guy, front foot. You know, try to hit the ball where it's pitched, get himself on base. But he is prone to the strikeout, and that's what Chris Archer has the opportunity to do right now.
And he got him on a slider swinging in the second inning. And Diaz protecting there a bit against the slider down in the count here, and he fouled it. And again, slider, and he fouls it away. Today's broadcast is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces, serving around the world on land and on sea and ships. Welcome to one and all. We salute you and wish you Godspeed return. Diaz fouls it again, this time a fastball.
A twofer and a baseball and an exchange of currency.
There you go.
It's a good move.
Yeah, That's a complete day right there. And the battle continues at the plate. Diaz has fouled off a couple of sliders, now a couple of fastballs. How about this at bat in this battle? Back to the slider, and he fouled it.
A number of sliders. Diaz able to stay alive. These sliders have not had that same bite. The one that he put him away with had good depth to it. Good late action. These have rolled in there a little bit, and that's allowed Diaz a chance. Chris Archer still in the driver's seat.
Missed with the fastball. Just a bit there. Diaz has been in survival mode. Fouled a couple sliders, couple fastballs, a slider again, took the fastball away for a ball.
Oh, and if you look at the way that the Rays have him defended, you've got Evan Longoria off the bag at third, but Asdrubal Cabrera shading up the middle. There's a lot of room right here. Those pitches middle of the plate, middle away for Diaz to slap.
10th pitch of the at bat on its way. Fly ball into right. Souza Jr. is going to have to go back, and that one's going to go. Off speed, Diaz hits it out, and that will give Baltimore a 3-run lead.
Or you just turn and burn and hit a 2-run homer. I think Alejandro Diaz, and Dwayne, you just mentioned it, 10-pitch at bat. We talk about the more comfortable a guy is when he gets a lot of at-bats. How about the more comfortable a hitter gets, the more pitches that he sees, and that's what happened. And out of the 10, that was in the worst spot, and Diaz capitalized.
Well, you got to give the hitter credit for what he did. Well, he stayed alive. Machado fouls it back, a fastball, but boy, that off-speed pitch left up, and Diaz jumped all over it.
And that's being down in the count. He was down that entire at-bat, fell down early, and like you said, was able to battle, and finally got a mistake.
Souza Jr. takes care of that. Machado is the second out.
Number 10, Adam Jones.
That was Adam Jones. So a run in the first and 2 in the 5th. Strike 1 to Jones.
Well, and if you're Chris Archer right now, you say that's it. That's all you can give up at this point. Right now, Chris Tillman throwing the ball well against the Rays offense.
Down to third for Evan. Castelloni. 2 runs on the home run by Diaz. 3-0 Baltimore. scoring in the first. Alejandro Diaz reached on the throwing error by Archer and later scored on Snyder's ground ball through the left side. And it was Diaz again hurting Archer and the Rays. A 10-pitch at bat, and then he hit one out, a 2-run shot. Chris Tillman has been very good for the Orioles.
Yes, he has, and he has elevated the fastball, something that he likes to do. Used the curveball. We've seen it all. Slider, changeup. Moving the ball around the zone, and that's what has led to his success, and the Rays have got to find a way to chip away here.
James Loney leads it off in the home half of the fifth. Lays off the pitch upstairs.
You know, Tillman has that over-the-top delivery. He's tall, lanky on the mound, so he can drive the ball downhill, work the breaking balls down, and then pop that fastball up. We've seen with the Rays pitching staff how effective the elevated fastball can be, and seen it here today from Tillman.
Tillman, a 13-game winner last year. He was 13-6. Just like that, Loney is ahead in the count. You can see first half, second half, he closed very strong, winning 6 of his last 7 decisions with a .233 earned run average.
That says all you need to know about Chris Tillman. When it mattered, when this team was pushing to clinch the division and start a playoff run, you saw his numbers. That's all this guy does. He had 34 starts last year, and the Orioles were 24-10 when he took them out.
And he gives up his 3rd walk of the day, and the Rays have the leadoff man on. Follow the Rays all season in 2015 with MLB.com at bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment, at any moment, within game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Now Desmond Jennings. See if the Rays can build something on the leadoff walk.
Talked about chipping away. These are the opportunities that you have to seize. Leadoff walk. I mean, how often do they come around and score? Well, if the Rays have any designs on getting back into this game, I'm going to have to do it here.
Well, through the first 4 innings, the Rays had 3 base runners and essentially lost 2 of them on the bases.
And right now, Chris Tillman losing a little bit mechanically, starting to yank a couple of these fastballs behind once again. And that's not exactly the breakout that you would like. He has survived by making pitches when he's needed to. That's tough. Tough sledding when you're 50-50 fastball or strike ball.
The 2-0 is popped up. Foul ball handled by Pierce.
Well, that's what he's been able to do. At times he's been sharp and very good. Other times he's fallen behind, but that fastball had just enough elevation that Desmond popped it up. Tell you, hitters are so geared to hit the ball down that elevated fastball really gives guys trouble.
Well, you get a good look at it, and that's the only good thing about it.
And it's a tough pitch to make, and you're right. When you talk about a fastball and it's down at the knees, you only see the top half of the fastball. The further it moves up in the zone, your eyes, you see the whole ball. It looks big. And so you take a swing because it looks so good, but if the guy puts it where he wants it, it's tough to get on top of.
Number Tillman with Pierce getting back to the bag, and Rivera's the second out. Loney moves up to second. Boy, you'd love to see the Rays get at least something out of this. We'll put the leadoff man on. He's now in scoring position. When they talk about how big 2-out hits are, This is one of those situations.
And even though a 2-out single right here would plate you 1 run, but what it would do to that dugout.
Yep.
You energize that team. Still got half the game to go.
Yeah, it's the first time the Rays have had a man at second base today. Logan Forsythe. Soft looping liner, base hit. Here comes Loney. Throw to the plate is in time as Joseph held on to the throw. The Rays lose another base runner, and what a play for Baltimore. Kevin Cash wants to talk it over with Dana DeMuth here. With the Rays doing everything but scoring.
And I think that tag there by Joseph was right on the money. James Loney trying to sneak that hand in and just not able to do so. Pretty clear right there. He was out. I think, even Kevin Cash right now asking Dana DeMuth, did he block the plate? Because you could ask them to look at that too. He was out, but did he block the plate? And
well, they're going to take a look.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what he's asking, because it was pretty clear that the tag was there. But the collision rules at home plate allow you the latitude to go back and take a look to see if that plate was blocked by Caleb Joseph. Or did the throw take him in line? Because he's clearly right out in front of the plate. But that's also where the ball was. Interesting.
And that's the interesting part about that policy. You can't block the plate, but you've got to
be able to catch the ball.
Yeah, you got to catch the throw.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see what this ruling is, because he clearly is right out in front of that plate.
So the play under review. You see the tag.
Yep, that's clear as day. It's going to be whether or not he blocked the plate.
So it's challenged because of the collision rule. Rays have had a tough time of it on the bases today. They have a decision. So the out will end the inning. And we are through 5. That call confirmed. 3-0 Baltimore. On Sports is brought to you by Checkers. Get Checkers authentic Philly cheesesteak or try the new meatball sub. Pick yours 2 for $5. And by Grow Financial. Don't go through life. Grow through life with Grow Financial Federal Credit Union. Steve Pearce misses the first pitch. Archer in the mid-70s in pitch count. One. Fly ball back into left. Jennings will go to the wall, and this one will get out. Steve Pearce has hit his second career home run off Archer, and that will make it 4-0.
Well, how about the turnaround? Loney gets thrown out at the plate, and then Steve Pearce, we've already talked about the fact that he's always been a good fastball hitter. There's the four-seamer middle in, and Pearce quick through the zone with the hands. Gets the barrel to the baseball. Lets the swing do the rest.
Travis Snyder. Pitch is down. Steve Kelts up in the bullpen. Snyder has been on twice. Six hits in this game by the Orioles. Takes the count to 2-2. 4 runs, 6 hits. Snyder with 2 hits. Steve Pearce just hit the second home run of the day, allowed by Archer. Back to the mound. Well, Snyder's the first out. Archer gave up a total of only 12 home runs last year in just under 195 innings, covering 32 starts. A touch from home runs here in back-to-back innings of this game.
Diaz had worked himself a very nice at-bat and got a mistake out over the plate. Pearce just did a nice job of pulling his hands through the zone with quickness. And when you are able to do that and you get the barrel to the baseball with Archer's velocity, and guess what? It's going to jump off the bat head.
Chris quickly in front of Delman Young. 2 strikes. And he's out on 3 pitches. 2 gone. Ladies, make Friday night girls night out. Come see the Rays take on the Yankees Friday, April 17th. All women receive a Rays crossbody bag while supplies last. For tickets, call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Well, Archer in the mid-80s in pitch count, and that's going to be a day for him. He departs after 5 2/3. on the action with exclusive on-field seating in the Papa John's bullpen box. Host your group of 50 to 85 in this private party area and leave long-lasting memories. To reserve the Papa John's bullpen box, contact Group Sales at 888-FAN-RAYS. Email Group Sales at RaysBaseball.com or visit RaysBaseball.com. Limited dates remain. Steve Geltz is the new Rays pitcher. With 2 outs and the base is empty here in the 6th, he faces Ryan Flaherty. Geltz puts the jump on Flaherty with a strike.
Limited action last year for the Rays, but they do like his stuff. The way that he attacks the zone. And here he is pitching opening day.
Yeah, they see him as a big swing and miss guy.
Mm-hmm.
1 strike to count on Flaherty.
And with the way that we've seen the strikeout numbers going through the roof all around baseball, so important.
1-1.
The Rays last year as a staff were in a neck-and-neck race with the Indians all year long. Both setting a major league record for strikeouts, the Indians ending up on top.
You know, Geltz was in 11 games for the Rays last year, so limited exposure to him at the major league level. But of all the pitchers on the staff, he had the highest percentage of swing and misses. He was ahead of Boxberger and McGee. 2-2. You know, the interesting thing about that, you know who was 4th on that list? Drew Smiley. Swing and miss.
Hey, listen, the way that he threw the ball coming over in the trade with the Tigers, he had 7 starts, 3-1, I believe. I know the ERA was 1.70, but it was the elevated fastball. Mm-hmm. He's another guy. Tall, lanky, over the top, can work down effectively, also can work up effectively. Not easy to do. But he missed a lot of bats, you're right.
Well, there's a swing and a miss. Flaherty's out on strikes. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 4-0 Baltimore. Baltimore on top. Today's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. Kevin Cash, not only the youngest manager in Major League Baseball at 37 years of age and 120 days, he is the youngest manager or head coach in any of the top 4 major sports, period. There's the list.
And getting the opportunity to do it at home, no less.
Mm-hmm. Kiermaier shortening on the bat a little bit. That's a strike.
I like his career path. 1 year as an advanced scout for the Toronto Blue Jays, 2 years bullpen coach Cleveland Indians. Year number 4, how would you like to come home and manage the hometown Tampa Bay Rays?
How great is that?
Fantastic.
He said he never really thought about managing in the near term, and Texas interviewed him. He thought, boy, that's great. Really? And there were apparently raves coming out of that interview process. Snyder's going to grab this one. Line drive, hard hit. Will sink on it, but it stayed up for Snyder.
Yeah, and that's not an easy play at all. First of all, you're a ball lined right at you, and you're diving in towards home plate on a sinking line drive, and that's a heck of a play by Travis Snyder.
Well, play like that to lead off an inning. Pitcher appreciates that.
Think about if he gets by him with Kiermaier. Yeah. He's on third. He's on third minimum, depending on the way that ball would have squirted past Snyder. You're right. It's a huge play, and that's about as much emotion as you'll see out of Chris Tillman.
David DeJesus in the leadoff spot. John Jaso was the DH, and he was banged up in the first inning on an attempt to move into second. A contusion of his left wrist. It's been x-rayed. X-ray's negative. But DeJesus in there. He hit in the third and fouled out to first. It's 2-1.
David DeJesus, you were wondering how he was going to fit in on this club. Here's his opportunity, and he will work a good at bat. I've seen him do that time and again.
Three balls and a strike. Hot shot, base hit for DeJesus. And to right. There's a base runner for the Rays. Steven Souza Jr. is on his way to the plate.
Well, base runners got the count in his favor. Gets a ball that's not over the plate where he's able to get extension, and he finds a hole on the right side.
You hate to miss opportunities. The Rays have lost men on the bases in this game. In the first inning, in the fourth inning, and again in the fifth. Strike on, and you certainly hate to do that when you're playing catch up against Baltimore, because they've had a way of shortening games with their bullpen.
Yeah, that seems to be the new rage in Major League Baseball. You can get your starters to give you 5+ 6 innings. All of a sudden you have these bullpens that just come out and dominate.
Down to third, Machado scope one, first base 2, 5-4-3. So the Rays scoreless in the sixth, 4-0. into the 7th. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. Game 2 of this series. Pre-game show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Right-hander Nathan Carnes. We'll hear from him, and Orestes will break down the new Rays shortstop Asdrubal Cabrera and his approach. It'll be Nathan Carnes against Wei-In Chen tomorrow night. We'll be with you at 6:30. And again on Wednesday night, Jay Rizzi against Miguel Gonzalez. And our coverage commences at 6:30 as well. Here's Jonathan Scope. One. Geltz on the mound. Steve Geltz, fastball, slider, changeup. He's ahead of Scope. 0-2.
And he really lets everything just fly right at you. You can see the head comes out. Quick arm speed. Good finish.
Scope fouling off an 0-2 fastball.
He can really ride that fastball up and down in the zone, and then the slider and the changeup.
Misses with his slider up that time. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Caleb Joseph on deck. And he drops a nice pitch on him right there. A 1-2 slider gets him looking.
A lockup slider. You know, Jonathan Scope going to try to protect here. Watch this. Fingers on the outside. Look at that tight spin. Short, quick, and right to the perfect spot.
Joseph looks at a high fastball.
You know, he's got to be bringing some deception too. As good as that slider is, you know, not like the fastballs, you know, 97, 98, you know, 92, 93, 94. Good slider, has a good idea where he's putting it.
Well, he doesn't show you the ball early either.
No.
That comes on you late.
Look how quick the arm is behind.
Mm-hmm. Two on the count.
I'll tell you, you can roll out with 3 pitches as a guy coming out of the bullpen, where primarily it's a 2-pitch deal. 3 pitches with some deception, you got a chance to be pretty good.
One runs up and in. Here's what the hitter sees.
Nothing fancy, just comes right at you.
Three and two. One out with the bases empty. Strike call. He's out of there. Taking a fastball. Joseph trying to coax a walk out of Dana Demuth. That's strike 3.
Now listen, he misses so many bats that now the opposition's resigned just to take and hope. Slider to Scope, perfectly placed fastball to Joseph.
So 2 up, 2 down. He's faced 3 hitters and has struck out all 3 of them. Holding true to form to that swing and miss, or in the last case, take and miss. 1 strike to count on Diaz. I mean, he's swinging like he's not seeing.
That's right. That swing tells you all you need to know about the deception and the way that the ball just kind of jumps on these hitters.
2-strike count. Upstairs that time. Geltz trying to pump up a little bit on the fastball.
And you could see why the way that Rivera was set up. He wanted some elevation on that fastball. Not quite that much, but in an 0-2 count, you can afford to do that. At least, very minimum, you change the hitter's eye level. Want it up there again.
Strike 3 call. Geltz strikes out the side. He's faced 4. Has struck out 4. 7-inning stretch coming. The sights and scenes and sounds of opening day here at Tropicana Field, the Rays and the Orioles. Today's game summary brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. 4-6-0 for the Orioles, 3-1 for the Rays, and Baltimore with a couple home runs. Alejandro Diaz and Steve Pearce have hit homers. The Rays have lost one man at the plate and a couple others on the bases as they come in to hit in the bottom of the 7th inning. Opening day always special. Big crowd, a sellout. Good to see Vince Naimoli out. He threw out the first pitch today. Vince was the guy who just would not give up and brought Major League Baseball to Tampa Bay. So on to the bottom of the 7th inning as Google Cabrera will lead off the inning. Cabrera, Longoria, and Loney. It's Chris Tillman still out there throwing a first pitch strike. Ernesto Frieri busy in the Rays bullpen. Darren O'Day has been up in the Baltimore bullpen.
This is where the Rays have to make a move. You know, they talked about some of the guys that have been thrown out on the base paths and a home plate. In this game, you're now coming through the middle of the order. Cabrera, Longoria, Loney, they're getting their third look at Chris Tillman, and that bullpen, the very tough Baltimore bullpen, is looming.
It's popped up. Left side foul. Joseph will make the catch, and Cabrera is the first out. We had some special moments before the game. Don Zimmer's number Number 66 retired out there with Jackie Robinson and Wade Boggs. Soot Zimmer on hand with that. Oh, what a great story that had been. That's just a true American love story, those two. John and Soot Zimmer. Evan Longoria there presenting a retired jersey.
And how appropriate, how close Evan was with Don. See them playing cards daily.
There's a drive. High and deep to left. Gone for Longoria. Rays get their first run of the year courtesy of Evan Longoria. It's 4-1.
Chris Tillman has shown him everything in his 3 at-bats, and right here a rolling slider. We talked early on about Evan's success against Chris Tillman. Overall, Tillman had gotten him twice with elevated fastballs on strikeouts, but patience right there pays off, and Evan drilled that one.
Maloney pops it foul back a third. It's out of reach. 6th career home run for Evan off Tillman. He came in 13 of 33 against him and got him that time on a shot to left center. Foul ball again. We'll take a look at that Toyota trend, and if there's ever a player truly is the face of this franchise, look at that. All-time first in home runs for the Rays. Runs batted in, doubles, hits second and third.
Yeah, just a matter of time before those go up to first.
Breaking pitch, dropping low, 1-2. And the Rays have had a difficult time keeping base runners on, and the one attempt to score thrown out at the plate. Evan hit one out. It's 2-2. It's the 3rd opening day home run for Longoria, which is also a Rays mark. Popped up by Loney. Flaherty taking care of that one. 2 outs. A run home. Base is empty. Tillman in the mid-90s in pitch count. Buck Showalter's on his way to make a pitching change. That's it for Tillman. Back in a moment. digging the lumber, courtesy of Rays third baseman Evan Longoria.
Slider rolls in. The bullet goes out. Rays on the board.
Got to get that first one, and there it is. Desmond Jennings to face Darren O'Day. Strike one.
And this is where Baltimore can really frustrate an opposing lineup. All of the matchup issues, and Darren O'Day, one of the tougher ones. See his numbers last year, outstanding. The thing that I find interesting about Darren O'Day and what he's able to do, obviously with his arm angle, he's going to have success against righties, holding them to a 164 average. But how about lefties? 189.
And he essentially is going to throw you the fastball and the slider. Hey, there's a base hit. Jennings is aboard. He comes out there with a fastball, 86, maybe 87.
Yeah.
Throw you a slider. Give you the strangest look you've seen all day.
Number 44.
There it is from down under. That ball stays in, though, and Desmond Jennings, a nice job. Head down on the baseball. Pull the hands through and use the middle of the field.
.95 pitches for Chris Tillman, 6 2/3, a 1-run, 4-hit baseball. Now O'Day. Rivera, first pitch is a strike. Shepson has joined Frieri. Ground ball. Machado, a lot of time, and makes the play, and the Rays are out in the 7th. They get a run on the Evan Longoria home run. 4-1 Baltimore. Four to 1, Baltimore leading the Rays. For H.H. Gregg, the highlight performance of Steve Geltz out of the bullpen. You can't get much better. And then they get a third, 4 hitters, 4 strikeouts.
Dwayne, you highlighted early on about how he likes to miss bats, and he was, well, how about that for a line? 4 hitters faced, 4 strikeouts, 3 of them looking.
Just giving up swinging because they were missing anyway.
And on 21 pitches.
Here's Ernesto Frieri. Combined last year with the Angels and the Pirates. 1-4 in 48 appearances, an ERA of over 7. Here's Machado.
Well, there were two numbers there that jumped out at you. First of all, the ERA of 7.34, but you go down a little bit further. Innings pitched just over 41. He had 48 strikeouts. So he still has the stuff, that swing and miss type stuff. And the Rays.
Only a great effort. Be careful sliding into the stands with that left ankle.
Yeah, and that's tricky down there too. First of all, the low wall, it's at an angle. You're trying to run, and we've talked about here with the roof, you don't want to take your eye off the ball. So you're trying to run over there, check the wall, check the ball, and not hurt yourself. Oh, and make an out. Record an out. Not able to do that there.
It's 1-2. Well, I think the Rays saw those same numbers that you're talking about in Frieri and his past success that he's had. He picks up a call, third strike. 10 strikeouts for Rays pitching. 6 in a row.
Well, look at him stay behind that fastball, and again, right to the outside corner. Well placed. You see how he tries to hide that baseball behind that back leg.
Archer struck out the last man he faced. Then Gelt struck out 4 in a row, and Frieri gets a strikeout to open the 8th. Adam Jones bounces it foul. Beliveau up in the bullpen. It's a ball, 2 strikes. Brad Brock up in the bullpen. Oh, and this one hits Jones. Slider stayed up there, and Jones is hit by a pitch.
First baseman.
You can see they want that down and away, and it just got away from him. That's all. Caught Jones in the back of that left arm.
And look at the ricochet. That's why those helmets are good for catchers too. You know, the old masks that they used to use didn't give you much protection against that. Cut in the middle, throw down to first, gonna get it out at first base. So they pick off Adam Jones. Rene Rivera down to James Loney.
Foreshadowed earlier that we're going to be talking about Rene Rivera and his defense. How about that snap throw right on the money? Nice tag, no look tag too by James Loney to finish that play off.
Here's strike 2. There's another look at first on the pickoff.
That glove right to the hand, and Rivera, well done.
It's a ball, 2 strikes. Slider wound up in the dirt. There's Grant Balfour has joined the lefty Jeff Beliveau in the Rays bullpen. This ball just off the plate. Frieri can be heavy on the fastball.
I think that's some of the reason teams have been able to get to him. He becomes a little bit too predictable. And he's had a high-octane fastball, so you can understand the love affair with it.
And he just missed with one there. Hoping to get the corner. It's a walk. See how close that one turned out to be.
Right.
You know, you could argue any part of that. He thought he had it, and he's out of the game now with Snyder due up. Call to the bullpen for the lefty. As the Red Sox take on the Yankees in the Bronx, followed by a playoff rematch as the Royals battle Mike Trout and the Angels. Coverage begins Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Jeff Beliveau takes over here in the 8th for the Rays with a runner at first and 2 outs. Beliveau to face Travis Snyder. Snyder drove in the game's first run back in the first inning with a ground ball through the left side. Strike one. Check on Pierce.
Just to let him know that you know that he's there. 2 outs. You never know what Buck Showalter may do, although this team does not, or has not in the past, run very much. Fewest stolen bases in the big leagues last year by a wide margin.
Yeah, they were too busy hitting home runs to steal bases.
Right. That's about right. And they had 44 stolen bases last year. Next in line was the San Francisco Giants with 56.
Stairs. It's a ball, 2 strikes. Beliveau, a good job out of the bullpen last year for the Rays in 30 games. Missing the left-handed hitting Snyder. Lefties were only 6 of 41 against him last year.
Well, he has some deception in that delivery. We've seen the fastball 87, 88. Good breaking ball. but he's got that flat three-quarter arm angle, and he's got that, he lands and then all of a sudden whips through and does a great job of sweeping that breaking ball away from lefties as well as spotting up the fastball.
Keeps an eye on Pierce.
And he's another guy that we've seen have success with the sweeping breaking ball, but at the same time, that arm angle is still able to elevate the fastball from time to time. Covers the whole zone.
Oh, look out. A shot past the on-deck circle. Ricocheting off the railing of the photographer's den.
I think he was looking slider, curveball, anything but the heater.
Be careful down there. Heads up for sure. He's going to rip this one foul up the right side. Trying to open things and get a clear look, and he lines it foul. Into right, over the head of Sousa and off the bottom of the wall. Pierce is going to be waved around. And the throw to the plate, ball waiting for him. He is out there. So the Rays cut down Pierce at the plate on the double by Snyder. Rays a nice job here. And a very good throw. 4-1 Baltimore. Buck Showalter has decided to challenge that play at the plate. He was a beat or two delayed in coming out of the dugout, but got out there in time apparently to implement the challenge, to ask about that play at the plate where Pierce was called out. You see the ball there in plenty of time. There would be some question about the timing of the tag.
Well, Rivera he caught that ball and had so much time to play with before Pierce got there. It was almost like Pierce pulled the rope-a-dope. Lulled him into thinking he's staying up and then goes down between the legs. Rivera forced a reach at that point, and it is very, very close. We've seen some angles that look inconclusive. We've seen some angles that looks like he may have gotten there. So we'll have to wait and see, but
well, they're going to call him safe. So they will acknowledge the rope-a-dope.
Well, you know, like I said, Rivera had caught the ball, moved in for the tag. You think that Steve Pearce is going to give himself up, and at the last minute he goes down. The foot is able to beat the 5-hole, and the tag not quite in time.
So Snyder winds up at second, gets a run batted in, his second of the day, and the Rays are going to make a pitching change. We'll return in a moment. Call overruled and declared safe on a little misdirection. There was some concern about what immediately means.
Well, that's what you're talking, because Buck Showalter, I think he obviously waited to hear from upstairs, whoever's looking at the video replay, saying, hey, listen, he may have gotten that foot in there, and then he came out and challenged it. It would not be what you would consider immediately, but how much leeway do you have there? I think that would be the question.
Yeah, that's one of those gray areas. Life's filled with gray areas. Judgment, all that. So Grant Balfour, the new pitcher, facing Delman Young, who fouls it away. So Snyder winds up at second with his third hit of the day. He's driven in 2 runs, and this one makes it 5-1.
You know, you got to really tip your hat to Travis Snyder. After he was so late on the fastball by Beliveau, it was like he made the adjustment and said he's going to come back with another fastball. He ripped it foul, and then after that he said, oh, okay, now here comes a breaking ball, and that's what he was able to drive over the head of Souza and right. That was a nice at-bat by Snyder. We've seen a couple really nice at-bats. Think about the first run driven into the game. Him just shortening the swing early in the count and just popping a ball through the open left side.
Yeah, he's had an impressive day. 1-1 count to Delman Young. 2 balls and a strike. Well, the Rays did everything right on that play except get the tag down in time.
Well, it was a great relay. Souza to Forsythe to Rivera. Rivera had plenty of time, and that's that collision rule again. You know, you're not as aggressive. He caught the ball. He moved out in front of the plate. Pearce is, you know, he's going to give himself up, right? Well, not so much. They stole a run, literally.
They certainly did, and you got to give them credit for taking advantage of whatever they can, because they've legislated a certain level of courtesy on those plays at the plate.
There it is. Okay, I'm going to make the tag. Oh, look at that. And the left foot able to sneak by.
Pop right side. Loney's in pursuit toward the bullpen and cannot catch up to it. It's a no play. And the count on Delmon Young goes to 3-2.
Boy, that's a tough play for James Loney to try and make. First of all, it's over his shoulder. And it's deep out into the bullpen. He's got to go a long way for that. Forsythe wasn't going to make it. Neither was Souza. Not much you can do there.
You know, on that play at the plate, there was a time before replay and all of that. That was an automatic. Ball's there. And seemingly 15-20 minutes before the runner shows.
Yeah, right.
You're out and we'll go on. And under the current set of circumstances that prevails now in the game across the board, you can't blame the Orioles for making a case of it. If they think he got in there and they can get the challenge going, go ahead and do it. I mean, that's what they've legislated.
That's why
today.
it's there, right?
Pop right side. Loney back. Forsythe angling out. Souza's there. Who's going to get it? Forsythe went down, crossing the foot of Souza, making the catch. So the inning is finally over, and it didn't turn out as routine as you would like. Souza making the grab.
Head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Don't forget, coming up right after the game, it'll be Rays Live presented by Checkers. I'll be joined by Orestes Estrada and also Doug Wechter out on our post-game set. Emily Austin in the clubhouse gathering interviews, including the first post-game interview from the Rays skipper Kevin Cash. Dwayne and BA with their thoughts on this one. All that coming up after the game on Rays Live presented by Checkers, guys.
All right, Todd, thank you. Well, the Rays find themselves down by 4 with a couple shots left. Facing the Baltimore bullpen, Logan Forsythe will open the bottom of the 8th against Brad Brock. So, pretty quick at 92.
Yeah, he gives you a different look. A little bit of funk in his delivery. Tall, lanky.
Forsythe had a base hit in the 5th inning. Down 2 strikes here to Brock.
Well, Brock's going to come after you. The fastball, the slider, we've seen both of those. Also an occasional changeup. to the righties. He likes to use both sides of the plate with the fastball and then sweep that breaking ball away.
Upstairs, mid-90s. Kirby Yates busy in the bullpen, and Matt Andriese on the right side of your screen. A couple right-handers busy in the Rays bullpen. Brock, 28 years old. He'll be 29 in about a week. Forsythe up here, Kiermaier on deck. Two and two.
Giving himself a chance. Fell down early, foul some pitches off, take a couple others. Base runners.
Well, that went in on his fist and he fouls it back. Yeah, that's going to be important for Forsythe against right-handed pitching. Battle up there and a little bit more of a look early than he had anticipated.
Well, you were thinking about that platoon with Nick Franklin. But yes, he is forced into heavy duty. But you know what? He's holding up well here. And Brad Brock, a tough righty. He got that funky arm angle. And the way that, like I said, he likes to use that fastball to both sides. You've got to be able to cover the plate against him. And Forsythe is battling him admirably.
8 pitches into this at bat. And he got him. Well, good dip on that pitch.
Did not account for the changeup. Fastball sliders throughout. Finishes him with the change.
Well, tomorrow's starters presented by Chevron. Nathan Carnes goes to the hill for the Rays, and Wei-Yin Chen will be on the hill for the Baltimore Orioles. Kevin Kiermaier takes one down. One out, base is empty. Hot shot, fair. Beyond the bullpen. Kiermaier off to the races. Has himself a double. Kiermaier hit that hard sinking line drive to right in the 6th and gets this one just fair.
Gets on top of that ball nicely and just fair. Just inside the line. Poldenauer getting a good look at it right there. And extra bases.
David DeJesus. DeJesus, 1 out of 2. Jesus started as the DH and left with a left wrist injury, a contusion. Early x-rays were negative. DeJesus singled back in the 6th after fouling out to the first baseman Pierce in the 3rd. Tommy Hunter now getting up in the bullpen for the Orioles. Two and one the count. Souza Jr. on deck. Ground ball the other way and out of the reach of Flaherty. First and third for the Rays. Kiermaier had to make sure it went through. He was headed back to second and then could only advance to third when he redirected.
You're kind of in between there. A ground ball, you're not quite sure where Flaherty is, but see, that ball's on the ground quick enough, and right there, Kevin Kiermaier, not realizing where Flaherty is, gets tied up. And he takes a peek early and sees that Flaherty snuck in behind him, and he may be off and running on contact and able to score on that.
Well, it's first and third, one out. Steven Souza Jr. coming up, and Buck Showalter makes a trip to the mound. He's going to go to the bullpen. So Hunter will get the call.
Understandable if it was early.
We'll be back with the new Baltimore pitcher. Tampa Bay Rays baseball on Sun Sports is brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. We're at Tropicana Field. Rays with men at first and third and one out. David DeJesus with a couple hits. He's at first. Kiermaier's at third. Tommy Hunter, pitcher number 4 for Buck Showalter. Hunter's 60 appearances last year. A ball, no strikes.
Breaking ball right there. Tommy Hunter has a good fastball. You know, he started last season as the Baltimore Oriole closer and just was not consistent enough. Zach Britton would take over that role, but still a good back end of the bullpen guy.
And that's a strike. Yeah, his velocity can easily hit the mid-90s.
Yes. But he comes out here against Steven Souza Jr. understanding that he's a good fastball hitter. Immediately 2 sliders. And there's what you're talking about, Dwayne.
Yeah, 96 on that fastball. It's 1-2. Strike 3 call. He takes a fastball, and that was a couple ticks higher. Now number 2. Take a look at this.
97 miles an hour on the gun there. 98 on the scoreboard here at Tropicana Field. Regardless, it was hard and well located.
Asdrubal Cabrera. So let's see what Cabrera can do. He's 5 of 11 in his career against Hunter. Fastball misses.
Well, if you look over the course of Asdrubal Cabrera's career, this is his 9th season in the big leagues. More pop from the left side, better average, better contact guy from the right side. Use some of that pop now.
Toward left center field. That's going to fall. Kiermaier scores. Stopping at third to Jesus. Cabrera has a double. And it's 5-2.
The Rays have managed to get the tying run to the plate. This ball stays middle. Cabrera, nice job of staying inside of it. And he's able to drive that ball out into left center field. Plate the Rays' second run. And guess who that brings up?
Well, the Rays will get the tying run to the plate in the person of Evan Longoria. They have a run home, 3 hits in the inning. And here's Evan. Breaks his bat. It's a popper for Scope. Fastball at 97 got in on him to pop him up. The Rays score 1 and trail by 3. Gives the Rays their second run of the day. As we go to the 9th, it's 5-2. Kirby Yates follows Grant Balfour. It's 37 appearances for the Rays last year.
36 innings of work, 42 strikeouts. Another guy that the Rays have coming in out of that bullpen, capable of picking those strikeouts up. So important late in games.
He'll face Ryan Flaherty to open the 9th. Fouls it back.
For 3 innings.
Flaherty getting the start because of his matchups against Archer. He went 0 for 2 against Archer, 0 for 3 on the day. And down 2 strikes right now. Yates 28 years old. When he was called to the big leagues, his work at AAA, he had 16 saves and an ERA of 0.36 at Durham. Whoops, there's a long one on an 0-2 pitch, and Flaherty launches it and hits the 0-2 fastball out of here. And again, it's a 4-run game.
Well, you can see Kirby Yates, the way that he's going or he was going after the rosin bag behind the mound, very upset with himself. It's one of those cardinal sins, 0-2, and it's fastball right down the middle. He wanted to let that ball run off the plate away. It caught the middle, and Flaherty caught it clean.
Jonathan Scope. That's a strike. The Orioles with 8 hits. They've hit 3 home runs now. Two and one. Caleb Joseph, the catcher, is on deck. Two. Cabrera handles that one for the first out here in the top of the ninth.
Catcher, Caleb Joseph.
Here's Caleb Joseph. Ball, no strikes. Rays in the bottom of the ninth do to have Loney, Jennings, and Rivera up. One.
That's one of those borderline pitches that you're going to see Rene Rivera get for his pitchers more often than not. So soft. We talked about Asdrubal Cabrera, soft hands out at shortstop. Same thing with Rivera behind the plate. Very good receiver of the baseball, very quiet into the glove.
Pop right side. Souza still coming, and Loney out there to save the day. Boy, Loney traveled a long way from first base and made a very difficult catch for the second out.
Right over his head into shallow right field. You know, the Rays right now having a little bit of issues communication-wise out there. You remember the fly ball that Souza came in and caught running into Logan Forsythe. Right here, nobody takes control until James Loney late, and that is the most difficult of catches.
Boy, there aren't many first basemen who are going to be even close to that one. Loney saves the day there.
Or wannabe, because that's one of those pop-ups up directly over your head and behind you, the most disconcerting to go after. And he should not have been the man to make that play.
Piazza hit the 2-run home run in the 5th inning. That widened the lead. It was 1-0 at the time. That made it 3-0. Piazza hit his home run in the 5th. Pierce hit one in the 6th. Flaherty has hit one in the 9th. Zach Britton in the Baltimore bullpen. Just missed his feet. It's 2-2. Rays down by 4. We're in the top of the 9th inning. Season opener here at Tropicana Field. Chris Archer pitched the first 5 2/3. And he has it battling Yates. He had that big battle back in the 5th with Archer, and after getting behind in the count, worked it to 2-2, and on the 10th pitch of that at bat, hit one out. How about this at bat again?
Yep. I mean, this is what you're trying to do. De Aza falls down in the count, 2 strikes, battle, foul off, tough pitches. He's done that all day long. No bigger than the one that you just referenced, but boy, he's a pitcher. That's frustrating. You're giving him everything. Slider down and in, trying to backdoor slider. Fastball up in the zone, now fastball in.
And that's inside, so it's gone to 3-2.
Start running out of ideas.
Eight pitches into this at bat. Look out, a foul ball. So he will have at least a second 10-pitch at bat.
Sinker, just give him the sinker down and away, let him roll over it and get out of this inning. And talk about running out of ideas. Trying to come up with one between them.
Yep. Well, the Red Sox have now an 8-0 lead on Philadelphia in the bottom of the 9th inning. Pedroia has a home run. Betts one. Pedroia actually hit 2 home runs. Hanley Ramirez has hit a couple. Tenth pitch of the at bat on its way. And he got it. Got him on the fastball. James Loney is going to lead off the bottom of the 9th inning for the Rays. They're down 6-2. And for their final shot, bottom of the 9th inning. They're going to be facing the left-hander Zach Britton. So Hunter pitched 2/3. Came up ahead, and Zach Britton, who was 37 of 41 in save opportunities last year, takes over. Loney's going to be lifted. Brandon Geyer will now hit against the lefty. Pitch inside. Geyer, Jennings, and Rivera due up against Britton in the 9th. Two balls, no strikes. Two and one. Three balls and a strike. Two. Geyer trying to coax the walk. Dana DeMuth would not go for it.
That ball ended up right down the middle, but Zach Britton has one of the best sinkers moving fastballs. You don't really see it there.
Geyer stays alive.
Yeah, that's a tough sell job when it's thigh high right down the middle. Although Brandon tried his best. That's what Britton wants to do. He wants to get you on that mid-90s sinker.
Geyer out on strikes on the hard stuff.
I mean, it has split type action when it's down in the zone at 95. You see, that's how he throws it, and you've got to protect anything close. You got to go for him, and before you know it, that ball is just sinking right out of the zone.
Desmond Jennings pitch bouncing and missed him. One ball, no strikes. Yeah, there's all kinds of movement that Britton gives you up there.
What makes him unique is he's able to get that kind of a sink on a fastball that's in the mid-90s. You know, a lot of times when that fastball velocity starts to creep up in that range, you throw right through the sink, tends to flatten out, straighten out a little bit. And Britton's still able to get the good sink at the high velocity and then to go along with a hard, tight slider. It's a pretty lethal combination.
Yeah, that slider's something that he's about 90% fastball, but he's got such movement. You just throw a slider in there for fun once in a while to further confuse a hitter.
I mean, not fair.
Give me a break here. Reaching a little tapper. Britton gets it to first in time.
Barely.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Desmond Jennings, not conceding anything, is busting up that first base line, and Zach Britton made this play a lot closer than it really needed to be. Deliberate there.
he throws it any harder to first, it sinks on Pierce, and he can't catch it. You can't hit it. Hard to catch.
That's a good point.
So 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Now Rene Rivera. He takes a strike. Rivera nothing at 3. Wide. That was the slider. One and two. That is the fastball with velocity and movement. Cut and a miss. Ball getting away. And the Rays are still alive. So a strikeout. Joseph could not corral it. And the Rays have a base runner.
You can see Zach Britton in this non-save situation. He is really making it a point to work on that slider. And that's what he was able to close out Rivera with. Caleb Joseph just not able to come up with it. That ball, you see, it just got right by him, down and in.
So he's charged with a wild pitch. That gets Logan Forsythe up here, and he taps it foul. Forsythe can keep it going. Tim Beckham is on deck. He would pinch hit for Kiermaier against the tough left-hander. Tapped to third. Machado whips it across to first, and this game is over. Rays get a base runner, leave him on in the 9th inning, and the Baltimore Orioles have taken the first game of this series. It's a 6-2 final. 6-8-0 for the Orioles, 2-8-1 for the Rays. Tillman will get the win. Archer, in his first opening day assignment, suffers the loss. 3 hours and 1 minute the time of this game, before a crowd of 31,042. So the Orioles take the first game. We'll be with you tomorrow at 6:30 on Sun Sports for Game 2, when the Rays play host to the Baltimore Orioles. Now for Brian Anderson and the rest of our crew, this is Dwayne Stats. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast, if not the outcome. Post-game coverage, extended coverage, comes your way next on Sun Sports.